You haven't popped in yet. There you go. What?
Now next week happens. New internet, and I mean, crank up the bit rate. See if that does. And this is
Yeah.
I did turn up my bit rate a little because I did notice Comcast did paying for 10 up. I'm getting a little bit, but I do know still not as could be.
Yeah.
That happens on Monday, and I gotta be. Well, it's kind of like when they had to install yours, bury it
Yeah. But
fiber
they
to the house.
they did that like over a course of time. Like they had an outside installation team and an inside installation team.
Yeah, that well, I mean, it might just be laying across the yard for a bit, but
So I'm kind of shocked to hear that like you're gonna have it all at once. But
well,
then again, you're with a
they're gonna
different
get it
company,
installed
so
out. Well, they probably won't bury it. I guess probably on, but yeah, but they'll get it all in, and I'm gonna have it run in here, so I gotta do some prep work. I know what they're gonna do, and I don't want it, because they just want to punch a hole through the wall and put it. I want to hardwire most of my stuff. I'm getting their wireless router thing free. It might be marginally, but I don't have any devices that are Wi-Fi 7. So it should be better overall because I've been noticing some lagginess.
Mhm.
The main thing is it's going to be like 8 times better service, like speed and all that, just as reliable for same amount, or actually a little about $10, $13 less.
Yeah.
So it's like, uh, you know, because they came by, I mean, or somebody dropped a door flyer. Say, I want to say it might be more like 2 years ago now, and I kind of was looking into it because I always kind of wanted there to be some competition, but also just sort of get away. Like the company, of course, stuff. They have a
Mhm.
stranglehold on what I don't. But when, but it was, had to pay a pretty sizable installation because of customers. I noticed all around the neighborhood. People are older, and they had a guy walking around. So it's free installation, unless they run into something. Full installation to the house is, well, and inside and that.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly free fee, and it's quote price for life. You know, I'll believe that when I see it, but yeah, so we'll see what the price for life means, but hey, if they can hold the price for 5 years, it's still money. Because I know Comcast, I had a feeling it's maybe gonna, I have a feeling they're gonna raise their rate soon.
Yeah.
I was talking, talk to people at work. Of course, they have the TV along with that, playing, like $300 a month. But he wasn't, or they weren't, been hardly watching all what they're paying for, and I almost quit watching TV because it just wasn't anything on,
Yeah.
And then the packages wouldn't get, like with the races and stuff, wouldn't, because it was all moving around stuff for a while there, so it wasn't always. Pay all that. I wasn't paying, but I mean, you pay all that money and you still don't get the channel you want for the things you want.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, but yeah, I couldn't. Of course, they want you to bundle stuff too, which, again, I just don't trust the company. It's done some shady stuff. I mean, what company is good, but it's like, dude, they've gotten 20, almost 20 years worth of service out of me. I had them at the old house, and this house. That's all I could get. That's all the wanted internet or TV for that matter before digital takeover. That's all you could do. But better service and save a little bit of money, or better service for about the save money. Kind of a no-brainer. Plus, actually, it'll kind of increase, well, and even like your house, kind of increases the value because it's already wired for it.
Yeah.
So when you ever go to sell, that's a, well, you got both cable and, future people have a option of, and now fiber. Me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then technically, who does that anymore?
Yeah.
And I know, like, you had the wireless on, and it worked, but it definitely It's just by the nature of wireless, it has its.
Well, mine works so well just because I was so close to
Well,
where
right,
they
you have the
were.
advantage of that, but see, people on the outskirts of town, and see, we had that line of sight wireless, like at your house at work, because there was no cable buried, just the phone line. It wasn't going to support, you know, cloud computing, you know, like what we do now, and we this. Or did that. I remember when they did that, and like we were just on the edge, so it worked better than the phone speed, but and always very reliable. We were so far away, and then they eventually got enough customers, um, but they finally buried cable, so it. But it's, and I don't pay, but I know it's probably a lot, and the speed isn't, you know, what I get at home now, and not fiber.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. Streaming and just general better overall. Because, like, sometimes I can notice, and it could be the giant server, but part of it is probably just the latency. Talking to the server when it kind of glitches out on my end. You know, sometimes when I lose, it hasn't happened in a while, but you know, I just sometimes lose control, you know, and then the tractor just goes off without me. You know,
Yeah.
that's probably more my internet connection. I mean, it could be a number of things, but part of it could be my internet.
Well, I was looking for my stream tonight, and I happened to come across my last short that I made. I'm already up to 1.5k on views on it.
Okay, on the Peeps one.
Yeah, the second one,
Oh,
not
not
the
the first
beautiful
one.
people.
Okay. Yeah, you know,
I was kind of shocked.
well, shorts and stuff. See, like last few of mine are, you know, got about 500 or something. But I don't know. You got to time them just right. And for me, it seems like weekend in the morning. Like sometimes I mean, part of it's the content too. You gotta have a bit of a thumbnail to hook them in a little. But it seems like post them on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, kind of mid to late morning. Seems like they can almost consistently do a lot better. They'll get, you know, I can have some get like 10,000 views, and they'll just take off, and then they out. But
Well,
if I do them during the week, they don't always do that. And I know, and it's not subscribers that are watching them. It's just people in the shorts feed, doom scrolling or getting them. But for whatever reason, it serves them just right if I do them at about that time. You know, like my RC truck one. That, you know. Well, on my farming simulator one I did a time ago. Year and a half or whatever that was ago. That one too.
Yeah. Well, I was just happy with it because that's like my second one that's over 1,000 views. So.
Well, and see, that's the thing. It's you know, and not that, and like I said, your Twitch deal. See, and shorts don't make a lot, but it's a lot of. But they're for me, it's the passive. Like I get one that hits, you know, can make a $1 depending.
I thought you were like it's easier passive to make, which it is for me anyways.
Income. It's easier passive income because, well, yeah, they're a little bitty, but
they are and they aren't.
and here's the thing. I don't think correctly to think of, oh, I should do. But like, I have one. When I replaced the shocks on my folks' Yukon there. It, it's a simple job, pretty simple job, but the top bolts are hidden. You get those by feel. Tension. When you stick them in there, you accidentally, and I didn't know it until to drive it, all of a sudden, ABS codes or light is on. I'm like, what the hell? All I did was, well, when you stick the socket and extension up in there, it unhooks the connector that goes down to the wheel and then sets this code. Well, anyway, so I made a 30-second deal. Hey, have this, check this, and I just got my phone up there and was able to get a good enough shot and point it and say, here, check, feel up here. There's a connector. I forget. But anyway, 30-second deal, and I mean, I don't know. It gets 500 to 1,000, probably more. Man, it's more like 500 views a day, consistently. And so it earns, a month. It earns several dollars on its own a month for a 30-second, short. That is highly search. I mean, that's what it is. It's highly searchable. Have the problem. I don't know why, and it wasn't obvious to me until I started. I was like, oh. I didn't touch anything related, so I started feeling around up there, and it feels like a connect. And then I held a mirror, on my mechanics mirror stick. Like, oh, it's unhooked. Like, I must have did that, And I look, it's right in line with. Just happens, it pushes that little clip down and unclips the connector. When you're feeling around up there, you don't. I mean, you feel the wire, you can see the wiring harness goes there, but you don't figure it's a connector. You figure it's just wiring. But anyway, that does good. So if you can think of things like that are somewhat searchable, kind of get something going. Like for me, we're already being partnered in gravy, but that's how you could get the sub count, get there, and you're saying you gotta get the watch time.
Yeah.
But continuing to stream and it could get there. Must be.
Or there's a glitch.
But yeah, I'd say some ideas would be like, okay, there a setting in farming sim people should know about. Make a quick short on that. Record yourself. Streamlabs or making it, cut it down to a trick, doing something. I'd try something like that. Help you. Because I do get some subs only to get partnered. But yeah, I think about I mean, sometimes I do, and then I usually don't think of them when I'm out and about.
Well, that one took me a year, and the reason it took me a year was because I came up with the idea kind of around the time last year, and then by the time the box obviously it didn't take too long to get, but then I had to paint it, and just some of the materials I needed. By the time I got things ready, got things going, the peeps I didn't trust keeping the peeps around. You know, it was a little bit past Easter, so then I was like, you know, I'll just go ahead and take my time getting the setup over the year, and then when it come to Easter this year, I would do it, and um, same with the one that has a lot of views, which is the one where I'm on fire, and it's a progression from last year, and
Yeah.
I got a few others in mind. Nothing that I have to set up or anything, but anyways,
Yeah. But I
I
guess
did.
that's the idea. I don't think of till later. It's like, oh, I done that. Like when I'm working. Sometimes I think and do like, probably see tease something, but those don't gotta be watcher of my stuff.
Yeah, I did. However, get the design bug this week, which is kind of I. It's kind of weird how like when I want to design stuff, you know, my own stuff at work. There's times where I just don't feel like it, and then there's times where it's like just all of a sudden one day it's just like, oh man, if I work on that right now, I could get that done and be done with it. Well, I started working on the golf ball marker today or this week, and I took what you found um, originally. I tried to put it into a program, but um it won't let me cut that already that model. So I took and measured it, and I started making my own part, and then um I think Inventor I think from what I was reading, Inventor has its own whatever you call it, where you kind of render it for modeling for your 3D printing,
Oh yeah,
whatever that is. Anyways, um so I got the shape. I got the shape done. I need to. I'm working on getting the cutout now. Um, and then when I get all that done, I'll send you because this is one that I was. This is one I can't make it work. I'll have to have you. Well, I I have an idea if I wanted to make it at work, I guess, but it wouldn't be the same. I think we were talking about like having you try it. So, anyways, I started working on that, and then it got me to thinking about other things, and it's like, well, if I can get that done, then I can, and then maybe I can start working on this and that, and um, it's just like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna start working on that stuff again until either I get to a point where I've got it all done, or I um get tired of it again. But probably what'll happen is they'll just like there's gonna be some days where I just don't feel like working on it at all, and there's gonna be other days where it's like
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead
Well,
and do it.
that's like I started a new video, but I part of it operate. Now it's good. Yeah, and then I got to set up. Well, actually, have well, because I was modeling parts,
Mhm.
so I have them actually sitting here. But yeah, a video for a project to display those last dirt bike. Travis Pastrana, my Mike Brown, and Ricky Cole. I have Travis. Well, little gear, tiny little gear motor, 53 RPM. I have one that's 16 dollars a piece. I mean, um, I'm modeling kind of a mount after the motor, and bottom of Trana's bike, put him on the motor, and then what it's gonna be it was like a display of the side view Supercross. He's gonna be in the air, motor, ending at that. I'll fast. Then he's gonna be up in the air, spinning around doing.
Uh-huh.
And then Mike Brown's gonna be on the face of the Jeep. Ricky Carmichael's gonna whoops right after the other motor, and I gotta model them, have it so they have working. Gonna like a little move their rear wheel up and down.
Yeah.
And it'll be 12-volt, and where it's gonna go is in my trailer eventually. Decoration, but or it can be mounted on the wall or just table. I don't know. I mean, I got that basic design, but I haven't figured out thought of background. I mean, obviously it's a stadium, but I gotta look for some pictures of like grandstand. They gotta be in it right, like out of focus, first, so they look right. Background, sort of the idea.
Or I guess it depends on how. But you could always do like Vegas and then have like the billboard in the, or not the billboard, but the Teletron that's in the background on the one end zone.
Well, yeah, that's part of it, but they'll kind of have the stands, and then I'll have some top block that I gotta make. I haven't decided how I'm gonna make those. I mean, I could just rectangle or make them out of foam
Yeah.
logos. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, I'm not quite sure on the background because it's going to be very slim. It's only going to be inches, maybe 3. So think kind of like a large shadow box. Thing's going to be for this kind of this.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm kind of filming that, but I can't work on it if I'm not going to film it. During the week, usually other stuff. I kind of lose my motivation mentally.
Yeah.
And then me and the kids bed and all that, and then it's too easy to just sit down and
I'm trying to get this hooked up, and then we're done with this. I think this is the only field we own at the
okay.
moment. Oh no, we own the big cornfield that's behind us
Okay, yeah.
too, but it's not
ready.
it's not ready. So what I was thinking, I was looking where I was harvesting. There's some nice juicy contracts, so I was thinking about
Okay.
doing those, making some cash and kind of getting us around the map.
Like these pro stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Production.
They'll spit out pallets. Yep, I got them. That was see.
Trees.
That's
Oh yeah.
see. That's what happened last time was I spent
Like a pineapple.
I spent the stream filling those things because it took me a little bit to get the water here, and um so when I came in and I saw that none of that was done, I was a little frustrated. Okay, we picked up a contract. Need that tractor to pull the header. Well, um, I was I've been kind of busy, like we were talking about. I've been kind of because of the kids stuff, and so I haven't been necessarily farm sim some Fortnite also going.
Yeah.
I did get one night in, um, or at least an hour in on farm sim on the new one, but this week I've been like, uh, I've been exhausted because we are. Let's see, we got two nights of soccer. We got night of flag football practice. And then the one night that I was supposed to have free, we ended up gardening, which is fine. Um, not complaining about that. Uh,
Yeah.
well, we're not. I did. She did plant something, and I don't know exactly what she planted, but oh, we're going right behind here. She did plant something. I don't know what she planted, but they're just over here doing this field. But
well, we got our start stuff from seed in round for.
So anyways, I've been like, well then on top of that, I've had to get up an hour earlier than normal, for different various reasons. So I'm like flat out just flat out tired. But anyways, I've been kind of, I guess where I was kind of going with all this is for some reason, it kind of, I was kind of thinking about it tonight, and I was like, because I've got all the, I've got 17 installed in here, and I've got 22 installed in here. And granted, we're playing 22. There's a 17 I jump on every once in a while. There's a few maps, but I was just kind of thinking about it. I was like, that there's times where I think about like I really I want to go back to just 17 and start with the base map and just kind of do like kind of what I'm doing now on 25 with the base map, which is uh I'm actually like playing it and trying to get somewhere. Granted, there was no um like end to it's whatever I decide to end it and whatnot. But I kind of sometimes think I was kind of thinking of doing that, going back to 17 and just going through even all and trying to do what I'm doing or um
Yeah, you can
I don't know.
call it a retro stream.
Well, but not necessarily for streaming purposes, just to play through. And the other thing is, like, I was thinking about it, I was like, man, if I did that, uh like 17 and has, all the maps are out for 17, pretty much everything's out for 22. um so it's like I could just pretty much go through from one map to another as I'm doing what I'm doing on 25. But then I'm also thinking about like, well, but I enjoy playing 25, and do I really want to do that?
Oh, I, I been catching Goldstream a little bit, right? And working his way up, he gets 20 anyway.
Yep,
Not quite at his
he's getting
500 more,
closer
and as
though.
long as all he needs is 500 more after that, and if he's got the watch time, that helps.
Yeah, I
I mean,
I
he's
try
been
to
putting
catch
in the
him when
work, I guess.
I try to catch him when I can. We've talked about this before, but you kind of tad bit when you were talking about the internet, but like I, other than the races, I don't really watch much TV. In fact, I think this week or last week was the first time that I've actually watched a newer movie in a while. Um, I don't really um watch too many TV shows. I mean, I I watch it. I try to keep a show going. Um, something I'm interested in, but I don't sit there and like I have to watch this tonight or whatever. Usually, what happens is night, whereas like I get to Saturday night and I'm just tired and I don't want to game or something, And it's like, well, I've got 2 or 3 hours before bedtime. I'll watch a couple episodes, click them off. Um, it's kind of what I've gotten into, but I've gotten to the point now where in the rotation, and there's a couple of others that are in my rotation streamers that I watch pretty regularly.
Well, that's the thing. Watch a lot. Katie will watch some. Because we have Discovery, Mythbusters, and I guess on the weekend mornings, as you know, it airs like right now, Gold Rush. I guess we
Yeah.
watched it from the beginning, so it's not like a oh my god, back. Still had cable and stuff. Darn, which is hard because I commercial. But really, that again, too. I can stomach a little. I can stomach them enough on you. It hasn't gotten enough to pay for. Just that'd be the only reason I'd do it. I really wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, I can deal with that, but like, hell, and then scripted stuff like that, just the editing, it doesn't go. There's too much on YouTube. Fills that and scratches that. There just isn't. And we don't watch. I don't even know what hot shows are on nothing.
Well, I definitely don't either because people don't really talk
the other
about
thing
those anymore.
we do watch is like on the Discovery is a couple or one or two shows on HG Station House fixing up. But even that, it's not pseudo educational because they're not totally telling you, oh, this is what you should do, and you know, it's somebody like, well, we have this property that inherited or bought it, and you know, it's like what I mean, it's like what Eric, you know, Derek's doing, but they're spending, no kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the kids love whatever. I mean, I like it, but it's like I'm surprised they like on the weekends and stuff. They'll get up instead of watching cartoons or something. We'll get up and they're watching that show. Like they're engrossed in it because like we stayed somewhere, you know, change this and it's like oh, they're like picking up on. But other than that, as far as like traditional network type cable network. Interests, you know, the car shows, the stuff that used. I want to I want to see the builds. I don't want to hear you know that kind of care about it. And like Roadkill, you know, Tube, and then it went to Motortrend behind a paywall, and then it went to Motortrend. That's the thing. I was paying for a cable package, you know, and didn't get it, and I'd have to spend like $100 more just to get that channel. Watch one show.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad it. Well, I'm not. I'm kind of glad it failed the way because they lost viewership. I mean, granted, people. But I'm glad it failed. There, my internet or the game glitched out, and I lost and into the tractor. But I've been occasionally. I don't watch him religiously. It's not everything about Finnegan too and the format. But I have been watching Freiburgers. And in the past I watched, but really their stuff they gotta be together. They work best together. They're a duo.
Yeah. Well, and even
And that's why that Junkyard Digs work best and I the one Angus like he but even when he gets well girl yeah they're married wife he hasn't been on add an extra layer or two. You know
yeah.
people like us doing it full time. I mean
Well,
oh
even the show with Freiberger and I think it's his name was Dulcich.
yeah
The
Roadkill Garage
the yeah, even that show was somewhat interesting because um Dulcich also works really good with Freiberger.
yeah well it's the dynamic
The yeah, it's not quite as good as Roadkill, but it's got its own thing, and but yeah, I was watching the other one's name.
Mike Finnegan.
Yeah, I watched Finnegan for a while, but I got too. I can't watch that. It wasn't the same.
Well, that's it. And some, yeah, because like, even like Freiberger can be funny, but he needs someone to play off of it. Finnegan too. They need each other to play when they're just doing. Because like I watched a recent one I watched. He bought Stubby Bob, standing truck, from
Yeah,
Motor Trend. Oh, and actually a couple of the other cars, and I too. But they did it on their own respective channels, and he just went through and showed, okay, well, this, that, and then stories about it, and that was interesting because I remember watching the episode, and that's another thing. I haven't checked lately. Maybe put them back up. They pulled all those ever, but anyway. But I remember watching.
It wasn't right after because I was able to watch them.
Well, no, it wasn't right after, but like years after they didn't just up, then they just started promoing. But anyway, he was telling the stories about it, and it's like, well, I mean, it made sense to me because the episode, I remembered the episode, so it's kind of a history deal. But I mean, it could be, even having at least an understanding of what he was talking about and why and significant that still kind of dry. Well, if Finnegan was there to say, well, yeah, you were doing this up here and I was back there, and they could have made jokes. Honestly, they could have. I mean, says he's going to get it going and all that, and I'm guessing he kind of has that Dulcich channel now too, from time to time. But like, I watched one where he did some pairs to something he bought and he was sell, and it was only mildly. I couldn't even watch it. And I was interested in pickup. It was international pickup. See those, so that's why I clicked on it, but I couldn't. Just too dry.
Yeah.
Even though he could tell you history, doing. I skipped ahead to the test drive. Like, okay, I just need to not. He wasn't telling a story. He wasn't telling a story, or you weren't following. It wasn't an adventure, and what I mean an adventure doesn't have to be going anywhere. It wasn't an adventure figuring out what was going. It was just, here's what I'm gonna do, you know.
Yeah.
And he couldn't crack any jokes because there's nobody to crack jokes to. And then partially, it was just him filming it like on a tripod. I mean, a couple of his videos, camera dude, but like you're not supposed to acknowledge that there's a camera guy. Shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work very. I mean, and that's sort of the conversation. I mean, there's follow that, but donut media and this, and I never really that stuff, but I knew what the big automotive stuff and all their talent left to start their own channel. Part of it was the value was in them, the personalities, not the channel itself. And venture capital kind of ruined it because they were saying, nah, let's not that idea. Our return, where they were just doing it their own thing, they're independent, wasn't all about every single video maximizing it. Some of them would be duds, but they did even the dud type video because they just wanted to.
Yeah.
And you know, I listened to Tech Tips podcast clips from it. That's the same thing there. I mean, yeah, they do pick and choose ideas, but sometimes they just do an idea because they want to do it and they know it's going to cost a lot of money, and it probably won't make it all back right away or do as well as they still do it because they want.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it turned out to be a good video, but like they're April's Fool.